The battlefield stretches before you like a sea of uncertainty. The air is heavy, laden with dust and tension. The drums of war still beat in your heart, but the silence of the men is deafening. Two warriors advance towards each other. Their steps stir the earth, but neither looks away. Everyone knows that in this suspended moment, even before the first saber strike, destiny is already being written. The blades gleam in the sun, reflecting a sharp light, as if the sky itself were witnessing the duel. Yet the fight is not yet in the steel. It is already underway in the minds. The first to doubt, the first to blink, to give in too quickly, has already conceded part of the victory. Miyamoto Musashi, master of dueling, understood this. The fight is won before even crossing swords. In this duel, it's not just about strength. Brute force can break a wall, but it doesn't break will. What decides is presence, a mind as steady as a mountain, a self-assurance that doesn't waver. A samurai whose heart trembles is already defeated, even if his arms hold the sharpest sword. The true battlefield is not the beaten earth beneath their feet, but the invisible space between their gazes. Look carefully at this scene. For it is not distant, it does not belong only to the past. Your battlefield exists today, even if you do not hold a sword. Every day, you are confronted with invisible enemies. The humiliation of a word that seeks to demean you, the trial that tries to break you, the choice that can reshape your entire life. These moments are silent duels, but their intensity is no less. Imagine that your honor depended on a single gesture, a single word. That your entire dignity rested on your ability to remain standing when everything sought to make you fall. What would you do? Would you resist, or would you bend? In modern life, sabers have changed shape. It is the looks that judge, the failures that mark, the obstacles that rise before you. Yet, the spirit of the fight remains the same. It is not about crushing the other, but about not letting yourself be crushed by yourself. A samurai proverb says, "He who trembles on the outside has already yielded on the inside." The visible duel is but a shadow of the invisible one. Musashi himself faced his opponents before even raising his sword, encasing them in an aura of icy certainty, shattering their confidence with his implacable gaze. He understood that the energy of combat is a wave. Either you ride it or it crushes you. Today, you may not have armor or a battlefield. But your life presents you with moments when your breath must remain calm, when your eyes must not avert their gaze. A confrontation with a superior, a decisive career choice, a confrontation with your responsibilities. Every moment you tremble is an invisible saber slashed through you. Feel the weight of this truth. You are a warrior every day, whether you like it or not. The world tests your stability, your calm, your self-control. And in these trials, victory does not come to the one who shouts the loudest, nor to the one who strikes the fastest, but to the one who holds their position until the end. Sun Tzu said, "Victory belongs to the one who waits patiently for the enemy to make a mistake." But sometimes the enemy is yourself. So I ask you again, what would you do if your honor depended on a single choice? If your dignity rested on a single action? Are you willing to stand in the face of tumult, even if your body trembles, even if the whole world seems to want you to collapse? Or will you give in, surrendering your victory before the fight has even begun? Remember, the outer battle is a reflection of your inner state. If your spirit wavers, the world will break you. If your mind is steadfast, even storms will not have the power to bring you down. The true battlefield isn't found in valleys, on the beaten earth, or under the burning sun. It lurks in the dark recesses of your mind, in the narrow corridors of your thoughts, in the fragile architecture of your courage. Your greatest enemy isn't the one you can see, touch, or hear. It's invisible, insidious, lurking behind every doubt, every fear, every excuse you allow yourself to utter. The inner battle is silent, but its blows strike deeper than any blade. Yamamoto Tsunetomo, Don Lehagakure, wrote, "If you are prepared to die at any moment, you will be free." These words don't just speak of the end of physical life. They speak of symbolic death, of the willful destruction of your inner chains. Every morning, a part of you dies. Your fragile ego, your illusory comfort, your limiting beliefs. And each time you accept this death, A stronger version of you is reborn, polished by discipline, by clarity, by the intensity of your commitment to yourself. Look around you. How many times has fear dictated your choices? How many times has hesitation made you back down, made you regret it, made you lose opportunities you felt were within reach? These moments are the real duels. The saber blows you suffer are not physical, but psychological. Fear and doubt are merciless masters, and yet they can only defeat you if you give them power. Think of your mind as a fortress. Every fear is a crack in your walls, every doubt a half-open door, every complacency a space left open to the enemy. If you ignore these flaws, they will multiply, widen, and eventually engulf you. But if you confront them, examine them, and fight them with the same rigor a samurai faces his opponent, then they become training grounds, forgings of your courage. Every time you fail, every time you falter, you face a choice: give in to your old self or get back up. True courage is not in the absence of fear, but in the ability to move forward in spite of it. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Every hesitation you observe in yourself is an opportunity to challenge that fear, to polish your resolve, to strengthen your spirit. The inner battle is also a question of perspective. How do you see yourself? How do you judge your own weaknesses and strengths? The world observes you through your actions, but it is also a mirror. If you stand tall in your weakness, if you acknowledge your doubt without letting it consume you, you begin to understand the subtle art of inner balance. And as you master your shadows, you become able to master what lies outside. Think about the distractions, the excuses, the justifications you use to avoid what is difficult. They are like blindfolds. They give you the illusion of security, but rob you of vision and strength. Musashi taught, training is not simply a repetition of gestures, it is the confrontation with oneself at every moment. Every weak thought, every renunciation, is an opponent to be defeated. The strong mind is the one that refuses to compromise with its own limitations. And then there is the calm, the silence after each blow to your fears. The inner battle is not a war of continuous chaos. It is made up of attacks and pauses, moments when you observe, when you breathe, when you reconnect with your essence. It is in these moments that you realize that every trial, every doubt, every fear is an opportunity for transformation. The question is not only, how many times have you fallen? But, how many times are you willing to die to be reborn stronger? Even the greatest masters have experienced these torments. They have confronted their own shadows, their limitations, their frustrations, and their conflicting desires. Mastery of the exterior is illusory without conquest of the interior. For the man who is afraid of himself can never dominate the world. Every day, every thought, every choice is a duel. You are your own adversary, your own master, your own ally. So look deep within yourself. Identify your weaknesses. Face them honestly. Delve into the tumult of your thoughts and strike each doubt with the precision of an invisible saber. The inner battle is not for the weak. It is for those who dare to look at their reflection in the mirror of the world and see the naked truth, without disguise, without illusion. How many times have you died today only to be reborn stronger? How many times have you refused complacency, illusory comfort, silent surrender? The inner battle is long, sometimes silent, sometimes crushing. But each victory you win against yourself is a sharper blade, a sharper mind, a firmer courage. Each breath you take to calm fear is an act of discipline, a commitment to live by your principles, a step on the path of the samurai. War is not always fought with blood and iron. Often, it takes place in the invisible realm, where the enemy cannot be touched but can destroy you, your mind. The warrior who ignores strategy is a target, not only for outside forces, but for his own thoughts. Sun Tzu, the undisputed master of war, taught, "Know your enemy and know yourself, and you will never be in danger." But how many of us truly take the time to know ourselves, to probe the recesses of our own consciousness for weaknesses and hidden motives? Musashi, the man who fought more duels than anyone else, said, "Observe what others do not see." His victories were not based on raw power but on the finesse of analysis, on the ability to anticipate the other's move and detect the invisible. Likewise, mental strategy requires you to maintain unwavering attention to your inner world. Every thought, every desire, every impulse is a territory to conquer, a field to watch, a trap to avoid. Map your mind. Visualize it as a fortress, with towers, ramparts, underground pathways, and secret trapdoors. Where do your weaknesses lie? Where has laziness built its shelters? What trap has your impatience set? Every distraction is an enemy soldier in hiding, every doubt an ambush waiting to strike when you least expect it. Mental victory is about anticipating, trapping, and neutralizing these threats before they gain the upper hand. But mental strategy isn't just defensive. It's proactive, creative, almost artistic. Sun Tzu taught the importance of calculation, the art of foreseeing, planning, and maneuvering without ever rushing. Every choice, every action you take, every thought you cultivate must be placed within the framework of a larger plan, an invisible but powerful logic that guides your movements and decisions. Life is a battle, but every battle can be won without iron touching flesh if your mind is as sharp as a blade. Think of your impatience as a silent enemy. It pushes you to act before you think, to betray your own principles with hasty decisions. Laziness, on the other hand, is a traitor that settles into your habits and prevents you from creating the discipline necessary for your own success. Every time you ignore these internal enemies, you become vulnerable. But if you study them, understand their logic, learn their patterns, you can transform them into allies. Every weakness becomes a tool, every mistake a lesson. Musashi taught that mastery comes not only from skill with the sword, but from understanding oneself and one's environment. Mental strategy works the same way. You must observe what is obvious, but also what is not. What thoughts sabotage your energy without you realizing it? What repeated behaviors keep you in a cycle of frustration and failure? Observing what others don't see is observing what you yourself sometimes ignore in your own mind. There's also the dimension of silence and strategy. The most powerful plans are built in calm, not in tumult. Reflection, introspection, and meditation on your actions and reactions allow you to create a clear vision, a mental map of each upcoming battle. Musashi spent hours meditating on his future battles, anticipating his opponent's moves, understanding the terrain and his own reactions. You, too, must create the strategic silence where every thought is weighed and every choice analyzed before acting. The strategic mind doesn't just seek to avoid failure, it aims for efficiency. Mental strategy consists of focusing your energy where it counts most, acting with precision and determination, eliminating unnecessary movements, useless thoughts, and superficial actions. Every gesture, every decision then becomes an integral part of a comprehensive, coherent, and relentless plan. A warrior without a mental strategy is a man already consumed by his own thoughts. He struggles in a chaos he hasn't taken the time to understand. Now ask yourself this question. Have you truly studied your mind like a general studies the battlefield? Do you know where your weaknesses lie, what traps lurk in your habits, what strengths are untapped? Mental strategy is a subtle but indispensable art. It transforms fear into anticipation, uncertainty into precise calculation, impulse into considered decision. Every day, you face enemies both visible and invisible. The difference between those who succumb and those who triumph lies in the preparation of their minds. Observing, analyzing, anticipating, understanding, and acting according to a coherent plan. This is the way of the strategic warrior. This is how Musashi and Sun Tzu transformed uncertain battles into assured victories. As you move through life, consider every situation an opportunity to implement this mental strategy. Every failure, every challenge, every interaction is a test, an opportunity to refine your plan, strengthen your mind, and sharpen your clarity. The real war is not against others, but against self-ignorance and the dispersion of your attention. In the samurai world, discipline was not a mere abstract virtue. It was the foundation of all existence. The blade of the sword had value only if it was guided by a trained mind, a disciplined body, and an unwavering will. Every gesture, every movement, every breath was subject to the rigor of repetition. rising before dawn, practicing in the biting cold, repeating a kata hundreds of times until every muscle, every tendon, every fiber became a precision instrument. Discipline was not a constraint, but an acquired freedom, the right to face the adversary with total confidence, knowing that training had prepared the body and mind for the unpredictable. Musashi, the invincible duel fighter, was not limited to mastery of the blade. His art extended to painting, sculpture, and meditation. He understood that combat was not merely physical, it was an expression of the soul, and true strength resides in the coherence between mind and body. Every sketch, every poem, every moment of silence was a mental training, a subtle discipline that sharpened his perception, his patience, and his clarity. The samurai never separates body from heart, nor action from thought. Everything is fused in daily excellence. Habits are the invisible foundations of the soul. Confucius said, "He who moves a mountain begins by moving small stones." Every gesture you repeat, every ritual you observe, no matter how small, is a stone laid in the great edifice of your character. Regularity transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. The samurai never let a day pass without sharpening their minds as much as their swords. And you, what do you do every morning to sharpen your inner katana? History shows us that consistency forges superiority. The warriors who dominated Japan were not always the most powerful, but those who persisted, who repeated, who integrated discipline as second nature. The learning process was never complete. An imperfect movement today would be corrected tomorrow, with patience and precision. Repetition became a sacred ritual. Each day was a new opportunity to sculpt the will and strengthen self-control. The samurai did not fear routine, he respected it. For in repetition lies excellence. Every morning spent meditating, every kata rehearsed, every thought examined and polished was a silent victory over inner chaos. Discipline was not punitive, it was transformative. It taught control over impulses, over emotions, over the desires that disperse energy and weaken the spirit. Today, in the modern world, daily discipline takes other forms, but the principle remains the same. What do you do each day to build your body, your mind, and your character? Every task performed with rigor, every goal pursued without deviation, every habit consciously cultivated is another stone placed in the temple of your mind. Inertia and complacency are the invisible enemies that attack silently. Combating them requires the same constancy as that of the samurai, acting without rest, repeating without exhaustion, moving forward without weakening. Musashi said, "Training is not just mechanical repetition, it is the encounter with oneself in every moment." Every day, every action, every thought you choose to discipline is an opportunity to measure yourself against yourself, to understand your limits and push them back. Discipline builds courage, sharpens perception, and transforms will into an unstoppable force. It's not about grand or spectacular actions, but about silent consistency. A samurai might spend hours meditating or writing, but these quiet moments were the foundation of his future victories. Greatness is born in detail, in regularity, in mastering the ordinary. Every stone you lay today is a step toward total mastery of your mind and your actions. Observe your daily life as a training ground. Where do you disperse your energy? What rituals elevate you? What behaviors weaken you? The samurai knows that time is the playground of discipline. Each morning is a new chance to strengthen your mind, perfect your gestures, and assert your will. Consistency forges freedom, because he who masters his habits masters his life. And so, daily discipline becomes more than just a duty. It is the path, the map, and the sword. Each action repeated with intention not only sharpens your body and mind, but transforms your very perception of reality. Life becomes a dojo, each day a training session, and you, the warrior in search of perfection, advance step by step toward ultimate mastery. Beyond the battle cries, beyond strategy and habits, lies silence. The calm mind, like the still surface of a lake, reflects the entire sky. Seneca said, "He who is courageous is free." And Bushido whispers, "Honor, loyalty, humility, sacrifice." The true blade doesn't just cut air, it slices through illusions. So I ask you, Are you ready to die to defend what you believe in? To die not by steel, but by renouncing your fears, your invisible chains. For he who no longer trembles before death finally begins to live.